Car number 88, ladies and gentlemen, the Motomaster and Flag Chef. Here's Tony Moros.
Oh, well, Jim, the thing is that there's some really young guys in the series.
Yeah.
And they feel very embarrassed getting beaten by an old guy. So I thought, beginning of the year, dog it a little bit, and then come up to a peak at the end. Yeah, right. And that's basically the way we've been doing it, so look for big things to come.
Drivers are many.
The Eastern Series and the Western Series both are on television, national television, a Saturday afternoon. Look at the great companies that are involved, Hostess, Esso, Protac. It's fantastic. I mean, it's great exposure for you.
My name is Morris Torrey, born in Johnston, Scotland, on the 17th of May, 1950.
Don't, Morris. Put 40.
And he said, absolutely no way that the business that you're going to be doing is going around the world looking after manufacturers, rally teams, and I don't want you to be racing as well. So that kind of broke my heart because I'd been racing quite a few years before that. So I phoned up my friends at the RAC that I knew pretty well and asked the girls there would they change their name for me, make a name change, and they said sure. So the first thing was Torrey Morris, but that, although he was Irish, he wasn't that stupid. And Dick would have jumped to it right away, Dick Jeffrey, my boss. So then we said, well, what about Tony Morris? That makes a little bit more sense, a bit easier. And I said, sure, that would be great. So that's where the Tony Morris came from back in 1967. Sorry, 1964. And that's where it came. That's where it's been ever since.
Number 88, Tony Morris dared the field to come catch him. Frank Ellers in car number 1 took the dare early until Alan Berg pushed him out of contention. An early setback for one of the 4 cars in the Flag Chevol's team. These drivers are all winners on and off the track. Great representatives for their sponsors. This time out, it's Tony Morris winning the checkered flag with Laurie Craig right behind and Andy Mahood capturing 3rd. As a tough drivers' championship battle shaped up in the West.
A Ford 8, 1938 Ford 8, black and black. It was absolutely awesome car. And I put a 10 horsepower, I had a buddy and I bought the car, a friend down the street and I bought the car. And we put a 10 horsepower motor in it and it was much faster. It was unbelievable how good it was. It was unreal. Just a stock 10 horsepower motor. And everyone was going great. He would drive and I would drive and I'd use it and he'd use it and it was good. So one night we decided we'd go out to Largs, which is a little town about 25-30 miles away from home, and we went out to Largs and picked a couple of girls up and had a bit of fun and dropped them off and then came home again. We were coming home about 1 o'clock in the morning and we came round a left-hander on a farmer's field, and unfortunately we flipped the car over and it went over and over twice and back up in the wheels again, and we just kept on driving through the farmer's gate and got to my buddy's house and partner's house, I guess you'd call it, and we washed the car and that was it. I dumped outside the house, and the next morning you would not have known the car had been over. I guess we went on grass. When the thing flipped over twice, it went on the grass and there was no mark on the car whatsoever. So my old man said to me, what time did you get in last night? And I said, I've no idea, Dad. He said, don't lie to me, you weren't in until 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't like to say to him I was washing a car, but anyway, the car wasn't marked, so there was nobody jumping down our throat over it and parents screaming at us we were driving too fast, so that was good fun.
Nothing to do when times go bad.
his way through traffic after starting back in that third row. Now the question is there team strategy? How wide will Tony Morris make that number 88 Camaro and try to hold off 33 Trevor Siebert? Allers, of course, the points leader, and now we go on board with Trevor Siebert right on the rear bumper of Tony Morris. They almost touched as they headed out onto the short chute. And now here goes Siebert. He'll try it up to the outside as he takes a look around the high side on Tony Morris. And Tony Morris, teammate of points leader Frank Allers, will look to help Frank hold off that quick third row.
Well, I think we've been pretty good teammates. I'll help Frank as best I can, and I mean, seriously, it's for Motormaster that's got to win it. If I have to put him off or hurt him in any way to win it, I'm not interested. I'm past that stage. But I'd really like to win a race. I think that's very important for myself and Motormaster. It's been a lean season for wins. If we win the championship, awesome, but I'd really like to see us win a race as well.
Sedan champion Tony Morris.
Faisal Hainonen, my co-driver, has been well known in racing circles as well as rally circles, and he's won the Canadian Rallying Championships more than any other Canadian. And he's won this race here 3 years ago, so between the both of us, I guess a couple of old coots, I think we can go out there and do something. The cars were built for street courses, you can imagine. In fact, they were built really for the highway, and it's a big stress on them on the oval, but we try to make the best of it, and there is some adjustments allowed in the car. And really what you want to do is to be able to drive the car as you would in a road course, that you put the power on and feel safe. You know, it's the best thing that's ever happened to Canadian motorsports. It's $25,000. I'd like to be the guy that took it home. They call me the Grey Fox, and I've won a lot of races coming from the back, and basically I like to watch people in front of me and pick them off bit by bit. Okay, Zach, now it's your opportunity to have a go. Morris Jr. here will be your instructor, and Mary Beth will be at turn 7, and I'll be here at turn 4 critiquing you. Get him to take a slightly later apex and the exit at turn 3.
Yeah, no problem.
Mary Beth, maybe just watch him as he comes out of the exit of 7 onto the straightaway. I reckon it's an excellent place to start for young drivers to learn, and it's a good place for experienced drivers to show their sponsors and show the public just how hard we really try. And we really do try hard. We're absolutely flat out all the time. It's the closest racing you can get, and this has happened in Europe now, that they've started to take specific classes like Renault and all these small cars and run them all together. And the Honda started in '75, and it's been the most successful series in Canada they've ever run.
This particular race was the final one of the season, and it saw Tony's teammate Frank Allers with a commanding 29-point lead over Ian McIntosh in car number 24. All Frank had to do was finish the race, and he would win the BC Championship. So you'd expect that he would just cruise, right? Well, that doesn't seem to be the way that the Honda Michelin game is played. Tony and Frank, driving very much as a team, hooked up and almost immediately began to pull away. With equal cars, the driver that wins knows he's the best driver, not the owner of the best car. Today, that honor went to Tony Morris.
It was hard work, David. We didn't give up from the beginning to the end. And that's good, actually, because there's no way you can afford to relax in these cars. So I really enjoyed the day. It was a fabulous weekend.
This 1300 car, of which one class up of Ray Nixon, and Nixon and I stuck together and raced together all across the West. People started writing about it, and that's really what started my racing career here in Canada, was within a Mini. I moved on to Trans Am cars, and I did some Trans Am races in a Camaro that we had built, a Z28 Camaro. Oh, actually, we didn't build that car. We bought that car from a guy called Laurie Craig. And then the boys built a completely new body, new car that we ran following the Z20. I sold that to a guy called Sandy McTaggart in Edmonton, and he gave me a car back that we raced in. And that's how it went after that. And then it was the Honda Michelin series, which was fantastic, and then the Players GM series, and then I drove a whole bunch of other cars as well. So I've been very fortunate up to this point to be able to get lots of nice drives. I started to realize that maybe I wanted the same thing, so I decided to buy some property in Port Moody, and I became the 21st dealer of our own franchise. And they were very kind to Dunlop at the beginning, because they would give you money at prime plus 0, and it was a great way to do business. They were very, very kind. They did watch your paperwork pretty closely. They would watch say every 2 months they'd come and get a guy coming in to make sure that you're making money and that you're moving the product the way that you wanted them to do it, and it worked fine for us. And then eventually we went independently, and we made our money and became successful, and still the business goes on. Actually, I ended up with 5 or 6 cars, brand new Porsches that we gave out. I had 69 journalists from Vancouver to Winnipeg, and I would give the car to each of these guys for 1 week at a time. So I had moved the cars back and forth, and that went on for 20 years. So I was a press fleet manager for Porsche for 20 years, up until 2 years ago. And now I'm working with my son, Tony Morris Jr., looking after 2 or 3 other manufacturers as well, doing exactly the same job. So that's my life now. So it's a very, very nice job to have. Leave a car, then fly, and then drive, and leave a car, then fly, and then drive, and start realizing it's such a beautiful country we lived in. I really thought Scotland was gorgeous, and I really do think Scotland's gorgeous, but this country is just so gorgeous and so fantastic. What a life to be able to drive across it and part of your job. It was just fabulous. What I wanted to be in my life, I wanted to be fairly successful in business, and I think it was that way, and I wanted to be pretty successful in sports, and I think it was that way too. So, and I had a great life with my wife and my kids, and the family side has been absolutely fabulous for me, and the business side's been good. So I mean, really and truly, it's just it's a want that you must have, and if you can get that want to work out for yourself, it's just absolutely fabulous, and that's what it has been for me, I must say. Well, I'd say that 99% of my life has been so fantastic from motorsport. It really has.
Thanks for that.
Cool.
Okay.
Cheers.